going on all? Thanks for tuning in once again. Let's talk boxing. Crawford versus Madrimov, the main event. Crawford being the new 154 champion. Let's recap on that fight. I also want to talk on the Bacoli versus Anderson just briefly. But let's get straight into it. Thanks for tuning in. And obviously, leave your take on it. Look forward to the comments. Crawford, I thought that this fight would be a lot different than what I saw. I thought that Madrimov, being the switcher that he is, being the guy that's used to coming forward, inside the pocket, coming forward right in your face. I thought that he would do that to Crawford. I thought that he would find a way to throw more punches. The feinting was good, but, it was going on for far too long. The feinting was happening for like at least the first 4 or 5 rounds where he was hardly throwing. Then he starts finding his right hand, but, I understand Crawford, the southpaw stance from him was, a good thing for him to do. It was a good strategy because it allowed him to use that right hand as a power jab, to keep Madrimov off. But that being said, I just think that Madrimov didn't try to engage enough. I know Madrimov's the champion, but we're fighting in a Crawford crowd. Eminem saying, "Hey, give it up for Crawford." It's in the States. You can hear the crowd. There's a clear advantage for Crawford here. He's the home favourite. So Madrimov needed to definitely, throw a lot more punches. The feints was good. The footwork was good from both guys. I just think that Madrimov needed to chase the fight a bit more. He needed to get in Crawford's face a bit more, especially in the first 6 rounds. Crawford's a guy that takes his time, and then he figures you out, and then he starts letting his hands go. Madrimov, I think, could have been a lot busier. Crawford, just landing that right hand, that power jab, you could say. A lot of people are saying, hey, Madrimov was landing more power shots. Let's not forget, Crawford's orthodox fighter. So, him using the right hand as a jab, that's basically a power jab, So, it was a really slow fight in terms of, the action. There wasn't much big punches landed, moments where you think, wow, this guy's going to get knocked out. It was like a game of chess, a long game of chess, where guys are taking their time to make the next move. That's why I say, Madrimov wasn't really throwing. He did do well, finding that right hand. I thought that, him bobbing down, squatting down, definitely made Crawford drop his guard a couple of times where he was able to capitalize and throw the right hand and rock him a couple of times, but it just wasn't enough. The single shots wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough to win the fight, in my opinion. I thought it was a close fight. I thought it came down to the last 2 rounds. But, there's, like I say, Crawford, home crowd, first 4 or 5 rounds, definitely I gave to Crawford for sure, because Madrimov, he needed to throw more, in my opinion. He needed to throw more. Crawford, basically trying to stay away from Madrimov, which I was expecting him to try to land something out on the outside, not get too excited. Did a good job on that. Wasn't getting too excited. I think if the fight was deep inside the pocket where Crawford was letting his hands go, I think Madrimov would have caught him for sure. But, I believe that Crawford won this fight. I think that he done enough to win it on points, especially in the 11th and 12th. Those championship rounds would have really been a big game changer if Madrimov had some success. But like I said at the start, Crawford's a guy that takes his time before he figures you out. And when Crawford was landing, he started to find his feet a bit better in those last rounds. Madrimov, I believe his best round was around, round 9-ish, round 9, 10. He had a good round of 10 as well, I believe. But, like I say, the first 4 or 5 rounds was just not enough, not enough to win it. Not much happening between the two. You know, a lot of rounds where you think who won that round, but um, you know, there wasn't much really to judge. You know, in terms of who was more effective in those first 4 or 5 rounds. I just think it was more of who's the home favorite. You know, who's um, landing the most shots, sort of thing. You know, we only started to see the fight from around round 8 to round 12, where they started engaging a bit more. You know, the first 5, 6 rounds, 4, 5 rounds, I should say. You know, was a lot of moving around with the feet, a lot of feinting, a lot of trying to figure each other out. And again, you know, Madrimov gave those rounds up to Crawford. You know, Crawford being the home favourite. You know, Crawford, a guy that starts a bit slower, he gave those rounds up. You know, and that's how I saw that fight. I think that Crawford did enough to win. But you know, if Madrimov was the home fighter, it could have been the other way. But it was just a case of those last rounds, you know, that round 11, round 12, where I thought that Crawford sealed the deal, you know, done what he needed to do. You know, those are definitely Crawford rounds, those last 2 rounds. And, you know, that's how I saw that fight. Now let's talk about the Bacoli Anderson, you know, just quickly touch on that one. I thought Bacoli was a brute force, you know, definitely another giant heavyweight in the division, someone to look out for. You know, those uppercuts were on par, you know, and it's always, you know, you don't really see big guys throwing uppercuts, you know, like that. And it's very dangerous because, you know, it's like sort of short punches because the guy's so tall. You know, by the time he's throwing it, you know, it's landing because the guy's hands right there. You know, there was a lot of that, a lot of short punches. You know, it doesn't really need to wind it up too much. Also, the way that Bacoli throws these punches, you know, he's just basically standing there. You know, there's no real hip movement. There's no stepping into the punch. You know, he's just standing there, George Foreman style. You know, a lot of people were saying it was like a George Foreman. You know, you could see a lot of that. You know, a lot of just standing there throwing big punches, heavy blows. You know, was just a clear case of a really strong, solid guy with big punches against a guy that came with the wrong game plan that should have been the boxer, but is used to slugging, you know, but was unable to rock Bacoli, you know, was unable to move him, you know, and sometimes you get that with these giant heavyweights. You know, look at Sang, we haven't seen him buzz yet, you know, obviously, you know, Bacoli, another one. You know, some of these big guys can just take bigger punches, and Anderson just didn't have that one punch power to knock out Bacoli. You know, no matter what he was throwing at him, throwing some big shots to the body, you know, which was his downfall. You know, he was investing too much in the body and leaving himself wide open for those uppercuts that he can't see. You know, he's keeping his head low. He's got his body forward. You know, he's ducking low by coming forward, sort of thing, and getting caught from devastating uppercuts. The first one that chopped him was an uppercut. The last one that chopped him was an uppercut. You know, Bacoli also, you know, finding some big success, you know, with the straight shots. You know, Anderson unable to move laterally, you know, moving backwards and forwards. Like I say, he's used to slugging, so he's trying to chop him down instead of outbox him. And, you know, you can't chop down a guy with that sort of power that's going to knock you down in the first. So, I mean, Bacoli, you know, big congratulations to him. One to look out for. Dillian White's kryptonite, the uppercuts, you know, I believe that White shouldn't fight him at all. Bacoli showed that he's here to stick around in the heavyweight division, and I hope that he does get the chance to fight some of these bigger names. But that's my take in anyway. Leave yours. Look forward to the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.